Is your teenager scared to go back to school? Well, let's talk about that today on Tips on Teens. My name is Kent Toussaint. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I specialize in helping kids, teens, and families live happier lives. I lead two organizations, Teen Therapy Center and the nonprofit 501c3 organization, Child and Teen Counseling, both here in Woodland Hills, California. Every Wednesday at noon, I jump into Facebook Live to answer your parenting questions. Let's jump into today's. Hi, Kent. My son is about to go back to school in person next week. He's starting 10th grade, and since we were online the whole time, he hardly knows anyone. It's almost like he's starting out as a freshman at a brand new school. He's pretty socially adept, but he's having tons of anxiety, and he says he's really scared he won't make any friends. What can I say to help him out or ease his anxiety? Thank you for your question. A lot of kids are going through this. I can't tell you how many kids I've been talking to going through exactly this same situation. First, let me tell you what you don't want to say. Don't say this. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. No one on earth has ever heard the words, don't worry about it, and then proceeded to not worry. We all keep worrying. So don't go down that road. What I would recommend you doing is, again, you've heard me say this several times, those of you who watched me before, it's less about what you say, it's more about what you hear and allowing him to say what he needs to say. So maybe a great time to sit on the couch, put your arm around his shoulder, and just let him talk, let him vent, let him get it all out. Don't correct him. Don't judge him. Don't try to explain something. Just listen and understand. That's all you got to do. And once he gets all that out, you can say, hey, I'm hearing you. You tell him what you heard him say. I hear you have this concern and this concern and this concern. And I get it. I would feel in a similar situation if I was in your shoes. I get it. And then you say, do you just need me to understand and listen, or do you want me to think these through and try to figure this out? He may say, no, I just need you to listen. And if that's the case, you zip your lips, you nod your head and give him a big hug and tell him you love him, and that's it. That's all you got to do. Now, if he says, yeah, let's think this through, I want to figure this out, I don't know what I'm going to do, I say, okay, well, may I ask you some questions? Tread lightly. This could easily blow up into a big argument that you don't need and he doesn't need, but he's so anxious and aggravated that you could easily step into a landmine and boom, you're in an argument. You're like, but I'm just trying to help, and he's mad because you're helping the wrong way. So tread lightly. Say, may I ask you some questions? It helps him slow down and say, yes, you can ask me a question. You can say, hey, so do you think it's possible that your entire sophomore class is kind of going through the same thing you are? That you may be not the only person going through this. There's a lot of kids who have not met anyone, and he may be able to connect those dots. He may also come back with, yeah, but they all went to middle school together. I didn't go to the same middle school. It's a fair point. But there's going to be some kids there who didn't go to that middle school, and there's some kids who don't know people, right? And secondly, I'd say, well, are you going to be involved in things at school this year? Are you involved in a sport, in band, in, chess club, leadership, whatever that is? And hopefully he has some things that he's going to be involved in. And if he is, well, you can start looking towards that. Maybe the first week or two, maybe the worst case scenario is he's eating lunch by himself. Kind of a crummy situation, but not the worst. You already said he's socially adept, so he's likely to make some friends. My big question about all this is how much is he judging himself for, I need to have a certain status of friends. My friends need to have a certain level of coolness. And if they're not, then I can't handle that. And I'm wondering if that's what's part of going on. And I encourage him to figure out, how is he judging the value of his friendships? Because if he makes a friend with someone who's not in the cool kids group, is that going to be something he can accept? Or is that just well, I can be friends with them from now, but as soon as I upgrade to a higher level of coolness, then that other kid's gone. And I think it's really important, especially at 14, 15, 16, they're not always aware of that process. And it's important to be aware of that process because sometimes that nerdier kid is a really good friend and a really healthy friend. Just may not be up on the high social status. But again, if he's socially adept, I think he'll be fine. His anxiety is somewhat normal. If it's through the roof and it's stopping him from going to school, or it's not subsiding once he gets into school, you may want to talk to a therapist about this. Have him talk to a therapist, figure all this out. But my hunch is it's the preschool jitters, and once he gets into school, he'll probably acclimate, not perfectly, but well enough. And just keep in mind that some of this also may be your own anxiety for your son and how he's going to acclimate. And we have to trust that he's gone through 9 years of school, one of them on quarantine, but that he will be able to move into the school and make friends over time. And his friend group may change over the year or two, but that's pretty normal. That can happen. So it's important that both parents and teenagers stay calm and keep a big perspective. That's our question for today. Thank you so much. If you have a follow-up question or you have a new question you'd like me to answer on Tips on Teens, email us at tipsonteens@teentherapycenter.com, or you can direct message us right here on Facebook. We love your questions. Keep them coming. I'll see you next week. My name is Kent Toussaint with Teen Therapy Center and Child and Teen Counseling. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.